Good Morning Wrestling, Heel of the Ring podcast on the Sports Jedi Network YouTube channel. Your morning wrestling talk, results and more, so gather your snacks with coffee and get ready for live stream. Follow us on X app at BXJedi76OR, the playback app Heel of the Ring podcast. Email the show at bxjedi76@gmail.com. Here is your host, the Don of all wrestling watch-alongs, the Sports Jedi, Kev.
Get this bum out of here, will you? Get this bum out of here already, huh?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Heel of the Ring podcast. Good morning, wrestling. This is a reaction. This is recorded, so I'll make sure I let you guys know that this is right after Stand and Deliver. We just did the watch along on the playback Heel of the Ring. If you have not don't know about us, we are at the Playback TV app where you see the wrestling event with us. And we just coming off a hell of a card for Stand and Deliver. I've got my panel, of course, all my co-hosts here of the Heel of the Ring crew. Of course, we'll start off across with my partner, of course, the one and only Michelin Mega Star Chef Dan, who's joining us here. And of course, I've got from Pittsburgh, Hershey, out of Pennsylvania, the one and only PJ Chris. We're going to get right into this Stand and Deliver match. Oh, the whole card. I mean, first and foremost, what a way to kick off the Wrestlemania weekend on the Saturday of WrestleMania. I'm going to go right to Chef. Chef, quickly, because we're going to review these cards. Your thoughts here when we're going to get into it. How exciting was this PLE for you?
Very exciting. A lot of conclusions, a lot of great matches. One I didn't agree with, but overall, it was very exciting. The atmosphere was great. The crowd is very in tune. The overall atmosphere was 10 out of 10. Like, NXT rarely misses with their PLE. So this was just along for the ride with a great showing. What they tend to do, 10 out of 10. I really have no complaints.
All right. Indeed. Chris, we've seen a lot of PLE matchups with a lot of dominant with women on this card. I believe 16 women Ava mentioned here. All in all, did the women steal the night, or did you think the men stand and deliver as well?
Well, I actually thought the women, I personally, my match of the night, after we talked a little bit off air after the playback watch along, I thought the women's North American title match was my favorite match of the night. A lot of people who aren't really necessarily showcased on TV a lot or have been in the background the last couple of weeks or months, they got a really good chance to shine, like Lola Vice, Thea Hall coming back. And then, like Chef said earlier when we went off the air, or maybe on the air, I wouldn't have minded if that Fatal 4-Way match was the main event, rather than the match we saw. But I would agree, nothing to complain about. There were some results that we knew, some results that were unexpected, and we'll talk about it. But yeah, I think the women stole the show, especially with that North American title match. It was really good. Solo Ruka showed out, and it builds a story for Zarya turning in the future. So I think the women stole the show for sure.
Indeed. We're gonna let's go right into it. We had a pre-show for all the other people, like a 0 hour type of match. It was the elimination Fatal 4-Way. Again, you get pinned, your team is out until there's that one team left over. Of course, the participant, the Metal Girls, Jakara and Lash Legend, Fatal Influence, the team, and that too was JC Jane and Fallon Henley, Paxley and Dolan, and the team of Roxanne and Cora Jade that's the number one contenders, because they get a shot at the WWE Women Tag Team Champions on Tuesday night, whoever survives the WrestleMania matchup on night number 2. And of course, you had some great spots there, back and forth. Jakara and Lash Legend were the first team eliminated on there. One thing that came out of this whole match was Jade and Roxanne kind of teasing that matchup, or kind of Roxanne walked away, kind of left her partner alone. They didn't really resonate that well because right away the finish of the match came where Cora really didn't see, damn, you left me. They didn't really emphasize on that camera angle, Chef.
You're absolutely right, but I don't know if you saw in the Peacock exclusive, they kind of planted a seed for Cora Jade to get her comeuppance, because it seems like on Tuesday we may get Stephanie McCurr versus Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's Championship.
That should have been outstanding.
All right. I mean, some people could say that not enough build there, because we knew the reason why it might have not been on Stand and Deliver, Chris, because it WWE kind of teased it was a Bayley and Roxanne Perez feud that was going to be up in works, and they kind of pivoted out of last minute or whatever it was. They didn't really build. They were teasing me to build towards Roxanne and Bayley. It would have been odd to put Roxanne and Steffi shoehorn. So I maybe now they have a chance to circle back to it with some time with and going forward. Maybe that's why I didn't resonate or hit with you on there. Of course, we get a Jasmine Nix distraction to the referee, would allowed Henley to push Dolan into a leverage pin, but Jane took the referee out for the pin. All of a sudden, boom, we get the cemetery plant, and of course, your number one contender. Congratulations to Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley. Here's the one thing: Shotzi at ringside. We didn't give you that honorable mention. Shotzi, return of Shotzi. Any chance that Shotzi leaves the girls, or do you think she's just going to stay by the side?
I don't know. It's a tough one for me because Shotzi's not really doing much. I mean, she's kind of just alongside of Tatum and Gigi, and they're like Gigi said in her post interview. They've been grinding a lot on TNA and NXT, and they're doing their thing. They might not win the titles, but hey, there's still a lot going on in TNA, and I think they could get ready for that too. But no, they're getting good matches against good people and great opportunities. But Shotzi just kind of feels like the lone wolf, kind of like. So I don't know. Maybe she's coming back from stuff, and maybe it'll get her situated in the future. But right now, I wouldn't be surprised if Shotzi leaves that group.
Chef, your thoughts? Is there going to be a storyline, or we're trying to reach with grass, or they didn't give you enough seeds? Maybe
it's not just that. I mean, when you look at Shotzi professionally, where she's at, and trying to plant, like if you're trying to see, all right, what would be the best course for her? It's a bit confusing. She's had main roster experience. You can't discount that, but all in all, she still does have to get better in ring. I don't know if she's coming back from an injury and she's not all the way there yet, so they're just giving her time to be with the group. Aesthetically, it's a good look. I don't need her to be away from the group. But I think Shotzi, to benefit her, she needs to stay in NXT a little bit more.
Okay, I'm not saying that she breaks away and she goes back to the main roster. I could see her breaking away and having another person to team up with her to take on Gigi and Tatum Paxley. Maybe I'm not saying this is gonna like a Wendy Chu, teaming up with a Shotzi, not because they're Asian descent, but I'm talking about women that's on the roster that's not doing anything right now that you see her level up or being part of the Botchamania 4, which is with the Dark State. I'm just throwing, they need a female person to join that group. Whatever the case is, I don't know. Maybe they want to try something different where now she's got a tag team partner that now you have another set of tag teams to go up against Tatum and Gigi, causing them to lose the match and not winning the women's tag team champion. Instead of taking a clean pin, you put a drama line or storyline to it.
To a certain extent, yeah, but then that also puts Shotzi in a managerish role, and I don't know if her promo skill is up to par to do something like that. To have the ability to hop around with teammate to teammate.
Okay, all right. So we'll move on to that. There, on that, we'll find out what happens this Tuesday night. They will have an opportunity to take on the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. Who should that be? We have to find out and see on that there. Another match, my next match I'm going to put up. Let me put the graphic here so we get going. We'll take this off for a moment. of course. It's Ricky Saints, North American champion, taking on Ethan Page, where very under the radar, quiet match. Very under the radar. It's going to get not overlooked because the guys delivered. It was a physical, intense battle between Ricky Saints and Eagle Page. At we had a couple near fall finish to end the new champion. However, the revolutionary kick out of Eagle Edge and hitting into a spear into Rochambeau, he gets the victory. All in all, it has some great moments here where you had the crowd. You fumbled, Tony fumbled again. That's not the main story here. That's something with the crowd that just wants to have fun and react, adding to the drama. But the end result, Saints defeating Page via pinfall and retaining the North American Championship. I've said this doesn't hurt an Ethan Page because he knows how to get heat. He knows how to bring people to dislike him. But for Ricky Saints, his first match defending the title, Chris, your thoughts on Ricky Saints defeating Ethan Page and your thoughts of the match?
Are you muted?
I realized that I got the notification. Appreciate it. No, I like the match. I thought the match was really good. I thought Ricky Starks was the right person to retain. You just put the title on him, and like me and Kev talked about before, I love Shawn Spears and I love Wesley, but we're in a point now where NXT, they like to travel a lot, and who's gonna put asses on seats? That's Ricky Saints. So I didn't have a problem with him winning the NXT North American title to begin with. And even though a lot of people say, it's too soon, which there wasn't that many, but there were a little bit. So I like that. The match itself was good. These are two guys who are getting their opportunity, to have great matches against great quality opponents. Isn't the first time these two guys have gone at it. It was another great match. And I like the back and forth. We saw a little bit more of that with the multi-matches, but with the one-on-ones, it was good to see them kind of like, kick out. That stuff like that's good once in a while. And they did that. So it was a good match, nothing crazy, but it was the right match to open and the right winner won as well.
All right. Nothing much to add there. See Ricky Saints with a bleeded either upper lip.
Yeah, he did have his upper lip bleeding at the beginning of the match too. It was physical. That spot on the table was hard. I thought Ricky Saints kind of hit his knee awkwardly there. So they did some good spots. Overall, great match. I liked it. It was good.
Yes, indeed. As we're going to move on to the next match. It's for your NXT Tag Team Champions, one of the longest reigning Tag Team Champions in NXT history here. You got Fraxium taking on Hank and Tank. And listen, this is what I'm going to say. Wrestling is not booked or catered to just one person, although me personally, not a fan of Hank and Tank, but the crowd kept them up, lifted their spirits, lifts them out the match, battle with some endurance. They push them through the gauntlet with Nathan Frazier and Axiom. After Tank took out Axiom with a tope suicida, Hank and Tank collided with Frazier in the ring with the honk, and they get the victory to the delightful of the crowd. It's about making moments, and Hank and Tank are your new NXT Tag Team Champions. I'll put the picture up in a moment. I'm gonna go to Chef. Your thoughts with Hank and Tank becoming NXT Tag Team Champions?
Like Jedi, I'm not much of a fan. Watching the match, Hank and Tank did a lot of things that were incoherent for me, incoherent moves that just didn't make sense. I always had the thought that, Nathan Frazier and Axiom were better wrestlers, and they showcased that tonight, but it just wasn't their night. They weren't able to come up, especially when you take into note the fact that Nathan Frazier was kind of not, keeping his eye on Hank and Tank and wasn't taking them seriously up until the match. So yeah, that going on. The result is what it is, but I think overall it's showcasing a central theme of, for tinnitus is if you put in the effort in the right moments, you can cash in and it could be your night.
All right. You're good analogy there. I'm going to go with you, Chris. Hank and Tank, your thoughts on them, right team won, or your assessment of the match first and foremost?
The match was good. the match was good, and it was okay. I'm not a big fan of Hank and Tank like these two guys said, but they're okay. They're okay. They'll get there. I think they have that kind of like person with two meatheads, kind of crazy. I think they'll find that. But the result, I'm not a fan of it because to me, you had Axiom or Fraxium have better matches with better quality tag teams, and they still won. And then had these two guys go again, Tank and Tank and lose. It doesn't sit right. But I will say, the reason why I'm kind of I don't mind it too much is because we've been seeing for months, Fraxium is starting to not fall apart, but there are times where they do kind of like catch each other arguing or the tension's there. And that when Fraxium looking at Frazier take the pin, I think that's the start of a feud between those two. They've been teasing it for months. And at Fraxium or Axiom, Nathan Frazier taking the pin gives Axiom, some reason to maybe blame it on him, whatever, and they can keep going from there. So I don't mind the result too much if it leads into a Nathan Frazier Axiom feud down the road.
All right. I see that there. As you see some of the image there when they're bringing their hands raised up as the champions, the tag team champions. I also have this other one, which is the great sign of respect, which I was like, okay, I first, it didn't look that way. It looked like first Axiom kicked the hand and they extended the hand out and Axiom kicked it, but it ended up going into the big hug, hugging it out and giving them there, which that's a good moment for Hank and Tank going forward. For them, we'll see where they are as a tag team group. There was a lot of sloppy stuff they have to clean up when it came to Hank Walker with some clotheslines, some spots in the match. I mean, you got to be on par because Axiom and Nathan Frazier and Nathan and Axiom both had matches with the Hardys and other top-notch tag teams, and they put on killers and bangers, and you can't be missing clotheslines or missing spots in the match. There was like 4 instances, if you look at the watch along, where like he missed. Oh my God, clean it up. You got to have a better representation on that if you're going to carry those tag titles. So unless if they're planning for them to be transitional champions, we never know. Hopefully not. Hopefully, they just got it. I'm not trying to book the titles off of them either. But I just want them to tighten the screws for Hank and Tank. Kudos for Hank Walker being the security guard, Danny Hankey. Remember, we had the signs out there for him and all that stuff. Good for him going forward for what's in the future for that group. We go now to a match where, my goodness, some of us might say it's the match of the evening, the match of the card. It actually stand and deliver. The vacated Women's North American Championship is on the line in a ladder match. The participants in the match, we had all different women from Thea Hale, Lola Vice, Izzy Dane, Kalani Jordan, Zarya, Sol Ruka. We saw throughout the whole ladder match, which is supposed to be every woman for themselves, but Sol Ruka and Zarya working together so close down the stretch. They met on top of the ladder. They agreed to go at it. They were knocked down, drag out fight. The Surfer knocking down her tag team partners and then hitting the other 3 women with the Soul Snatcher, all for her to get on top of that ladder and become your new Women's North American Champion. I thought Kalani Jordan in that match had a hell of a showing. We're doing some one-of-a-kind moonsaults. We're using that ladder, using that strength, and Izzy Dane continues to show you why she's going to be a problem in 2025 in that women's division, just by her physique and her presence. Lola Vice, so close, but yet still so far. She's just must watch when she wrestles, using some of her tactics. Just could not be there. Not the time for her to pull the trigger yet. And Thea Hale, it's great to see her getting at least ring action. She did not have a dull moment in this match either. She was very entertaining. All 6 ladies worked their asses off, entertaining us with the spots. But at the end of the day, I'm going to go to you, Chris, and then I'll go to Chef. Chris, right woman won in Sol Ruka?
I would say so. I'll take the biasness aside. I wanted Lola, but I would say so. Because a lot of people, I think us too, we would like to see a Zarya. Again, I'm looking a little ahead, but for Zarya and Solo Ruka to have a feud or something down the line, this was a great start. Especially with the look on Zarya's face after the match when she sees Solo Ruka. It's kind of like that should be mine. Like, it should be mine. And I think they could get it there. I think they could start it off with something like, I'm happy for you. I'm happy for you. So, like, it's okay. And then down the road, we see the little steps, and then boom, that could maybe, or they could just do it right away. And that could be her first feud for the title. I wouldn't mind it. But she looked phenomenal during that match. All these women did. There was a lot of spots in that match. If you go back, where they took some pretty big bumps and landings. All of these women, all of them. So shout out to all of them. They this is what it's about. It's about making your moments and standing out. Having your best showing in the biggest stage when the time is right. And I think all of them took their advantage. Like I said earlier, some of these women haven't been showcased too much. So for them to have a good showing and stand delivered, it's good. And I'm excited for the future for Lola, Thea Hall, all these girls. But yes, Sol Ruka was the right person to win. And I think we're going to see a Zarya and her down the future. And I think this is the perfect way to start that. And it'll mean something. It'll mean something because these two, it was a battle between these two for the championship. And ultimately she fell short, and that's her best friend. So I like it.
All right, Chef. We saw these 6 women. 6 came in. 1 reaches the top. Your thoughts of the match and the result?
It was a great physical matchup. They had all the great spots needed. Yes, the right woman won because you gave the crowd what they wanted. You gave the crowd what they wanted from the inception of the title. They felt that Sol Ruka should have won. Also, she's the most tenured woman that was in the ring that night. So that, it was rightfully so deserving. One critique I would have, though, is that, in essence, because you knew that the crowd was always going to pop for having Sol Ruka getting the championship, I think there could have been a better build to getting her to there. But all in all, they gave the fans what they wanted, so no complaints.
All right, I'm with you there. I'm trying to get you that. Give me a minute. I'm gonna probably play it for a moment. I got the Soul Snatchers, only 10 seconds video. It's only a small fraction of the video. I'll give you the finish here with the video on it. Give me 1 second. It is the 2 Snow Snatchers, and of course her winning. And here it is, courtesy of the WWE Network, Peacock.
I think she can to keep her. Snatching the soul of Izzy Dave. Wow. Double it up.
That looks so good.
And now all that's left is.
There you go. She just climbs the ladder and wins it there. So that's from Peacock WWE Network on there. Appreciate that video footage there. And now we go into a moment that we've all been waiting for. And we've seen it fester. The D'Angelo family versus Dark State. Could the guys on the Heel of the Ring podcast been calling and saying something's fishy, something doesn't seem right, something doesn't seem comfortable when it comes to the Dark State versus the D'Angelo feud, where we see just 3 members of the Dark State, where Cutler James was not part of the match, but it was the whole D'Angelo family, where you saw some dissension with the Don. D'Angelo wanted a tag, but Luca came. It was actually Stacks coming in. We see something unfestering with the underboss. But the way they got to the finish, but before that spot by Adriana Rizzo off that moonsault at the top and on Cutler James, freaking awesome, trying to level the field. She was doing her part, getting her sleeves dirty. But all in all, we see the kicking the nuts heard around the world, where Tony D'Angelo turns his back and to Stacks, hit me with the tie rod if you're going to hit me. But he didn't. Now I could trust you. But all along, not really. The kick in the nads, and boom, Stacks turns. Chef, the turn. You guys have been on point, both of you. Did you see? We know you saw it coming, but were you tricked and swerved how we got there?
Absolutely. Thinking about it now, it lines up perfectly the way they did it. But I was definitely tricked in the aspect of Stacks handing in the crowbar, the Don opening up for the betrayal, seeing the Stacks handed in the crowbar, and you felt that moment of surety. And as soon as you felt that moment of surety, is as soon as they took it away with the low blow. So that's the beauty in storytelling in the ring and being able to do so. And they were able to showcase a masterful moment of it tonight. That was absolutely amazing.
It was amazing. And let me ask you this. And this is for you, and then I'm gonna have that same question for Chris. How did you take the Dark State? Did you think it saved their value as a group menacing, or did it take away from them and it felt more like it was a Stacks and Tony story saga?
It completely took away from them. They still haven't done anything really to cause me to say, oh, they're really chaotic. Like what the Shield were doing and how they were disrupting matches was reinventive in a way, or maybe it was fresh in the sense of, the NWO maybe did that, but it wasn't to the way they did it, where they just showed up, wrecked shop, and then left. And these guys are kind of doing it, but not really. And it just took away from that, because to some of my prediction, the reason why I wanted Stacks to join the Dark State was so that you would have them involved in the storyline and there's interest there, as opposed to right now, Stacks just left by himself. So it's really about Stacks and Tony D'Angelo and what's going on there. At this point right now, the Dark State were catalysts, yeah, but now they're irrelevant to me.
Interesting. Okay. All right. So you okay? I got your point, and I got you. I'm gonna head over to Chris. Your thoughts, Chris, as well. Do you give me something as well? Add to this, to the takeaway from the Dark State being there, that and did it in your eyes, or did it took away from the D'Angelo took away the spotlight from Dark State? And where does Dark State go? Same question.
Yes. So I would say so, because I think from the very, especially like with me and Chef talking about it, I think a lot of, for me at least, I'll say this real quick. The match was good, but I cared about the ending. I want to know how the ending was going to play out because of stuff like this. So just that alone kind of takes it away from Dark State, because no disrespect, I didn't give a shit about what they were doing. I cared about what Stacks and D'Angelo were going to do the entire time. But with what they go from here, now, first off, Stacks with the crowbar, yes, it tricked me a little bit like Chef. Now this is my thing. We saw Stacks turn on D'Angelo. We didn't really see him align himself with Dark State. He walked out. So where am I getting at is, like I said before, like when the episode that me and Chef I'll give Chef the credit because he did say it first, but this is where I agreed with Chef. During that segment where they did the backstage and they're all reading the documents, and Stacks knew way too damn much about about his guy. He knew way too much. He knew a little bit more than the other guys did. And that kind of he knows too much. Whatever. So where did Dark State go? I think Stacks would align themselves in the future. I don't think they saved it. I could be totally wrong, but maybe they didn't give that away tonight. Maybe they just wanted to focus on Stacks turning on D'Angelo, and then he walks out. So tonight we didn't see him align himself with Dark State. I think Tuesday we will. That's where Dark State goes after this. They align themselves with Stacks, and they start raising hell, and then they can continue this story. Maybe D'Angelo brings somebody else, and who knows? But that's where I could think that Dark State could go after this. Line themselves up with Stacks as their leader.
You know what? Okay, because they kind of need some kind of direction. They need someone with some experience, some direction that could open. He is an underboss, title wise, with it on there, and then we'll see where that goes on that there. Before we get to the final two matches of the card, I wanted to give a little bit of a honorable mention. We had a backstage with Lexus King in his Heritage Cup, where Penn and Teller made it disappeared, and then he's spending the night looking for it. Never went back to where the Heritage Cup is. It just disappeared. I'm going to go on a little limb. I think the Heritage Cup turns out from being a cup to a title, like a belt, just like that right there. I think they'll make it into a title, and I think that this appearance to get forged into it, and I think that's a way of them saying it's a physical title around the waist for NXT. I won't be surprised. Wouldn't be surprised.
That'd be cool, man. Because I'm gonna be honest, I would hate to walk around that shit with the airport around the airport.
Yeah.
Or just walking around it, taking pictures, and like, yeah, I would not. I would, for the talent, I would hate walking around public with that thing. So yeah, that'd be cool.
At the very least, if you are gonna change it to a title, you can change the name, make the design different, but we can still
give it more meaning.
5 rounds, 1 minute, because I love that. Once again, it's a great tool to teach talent how to learn to tell stories in a match.
I agree.
Okay. All right. All right. So let's go right into it. We got the final 2 matches, ladies and gentlemen. This has been so far really good. Don't forget, before we read this match up here, don't forget this is Heel of the Ring podcast on the Sports Jedi Network. Good Morning Wrestling. It's our WrestleMania weekend review, the Stand and Deliver card. And of course, don't forget, we come each and every mornings. Samuel Lyons Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Now we're trying to do Tuesdays and Thursdays with me. It's going to be recorded, but it's Good Morning Wrestling, talking about the news and notes of wrestling, so you guys get used to us talking to you about what's going on in the morning wrestling or so forth. But we probably have a different host each and every other day. But don't forget to hit that like, subscribe. And also, before we get into that women's matchup, ladies, we're asking for you to come and join us. We want a women's podcast where we can have the ladies join us, be part of our channel. Joey, me, and Chef and Chris are reviewing. We would love to have 3 uber talented ladies give your opinions and your thought of the card of wrestling. The Sports Jedi Network, me, one of the co-founders, Chef, and as well. Chris, a pundit and now partner as well as with us. We want to give you the opportunity to have a show here. All you got to do is bring your talented self with your notes, your notepads, and of course, and talk about wrestling. We want to hear your opinion. So if you're out there, ladies, on X, on Facebook, YouTube, anywhere, and you want to, but you don't feel shy or whatever the case is, don't. I started off, I was the worst person. Didn't want to talk to no one. I was very didn't want to do no public speaking, no talking, whatever. Now sometimes I host shows by myself where no one talking. So I'm ready to go. You just have a platform. You have here. By the way, we're 40 subscribers away from 20,000. Can you help us be part and get us over the 20,000 subscribers on YouTube? We're over the 600 plus in Rumba. We're getting close to over 10,000 in Twitter X to followers. So we're growing. We'll continue to grow in those charts. Our main goal, God willing, if we all could be able to say, you know what, I'm going to be able to get our Heel the Green crew and meet in New Orleans and get to meet and go watch wrestling in New Orleans for WrestleMania 42 as a Heel the Ring podcast group. But we're asking you for your help and your love and support, and we want to grow. Follow us. Just follow us. A simple like, a simple subscribe, retweet. Hey, check these guys out. We understand we might not be everybody's cup of coffee, but we're somebody's cup of coffee. Some of them like it with a little cream, little sugar, light and sweet, or gordito and funny. But whatever it is, let's go. So let's get into the main event. It's the NXT Women's Title Fatal 4-Way. It's Stephanie Becerra, the champion, taking on Julia, Jordan Grace, and Jada Parker. Some of us could say this is the match, the match of the night. I don't know if you want to say it should have been main event, but damn, they had that on Roadblock, their main event. They want to give the men some love, especially when the card is uber heavy, top heavy with so many women. I can understand why you leave the men for the main event. Just give them that little bit of a flowers there. But these women all delivered from many spots, from Jordan Grace's presentation with her Juggernaut bomb, the hypnotic and there's some spots where I'm going to put up the picture up a moment right now from the submission holds. I mean, Chef, this woman, did they stand and deliver or what?
5-star match. I have no. This was the best. This was the best match on the card, and this was match of the night to me. I have nothing else to add to it. I got nothing. Every spot hit, had a reason. There was no wasted motion at all. Best.
And of course, to who won the match is one and only Stephanie Becker gets the victory. Got her finisher on Jada Parker, took the pin. All in all, this match continues to be a talked about match. I mean, what a hell of a moment. As I put up some of the spots there, that submission, and then that quadruple submission move there for the ladies. Chris, your thoughts on this with these just comment on the spots, the matchup, the flow of the matchup, and the win.
Yeah, I can agree with Chef on a lot, man. This match was really well. It was arguably the best match of the night. I think Jada Parker showing in this match really made her stand out, and I think now we could say she could step into the ring and hang with women like Julia, Stephanie, Roxanne, all these top main card girls on NXT. I think she belonged. She looked like she belonged, and Jordynne Grace. I mean, she really is the juggernaut. I mean, just look at that picture right there, guys. This spot does not happen without Jordynne Grace. She is literally the one carrying Stephanie and Julia on her shoulder, so Jada could go up and then make it easier as a landing. So all of it. So this spot does not happen without Jordynne Grace, and this is arguably the spot that stood out the most, besides Stephanie doing her quacky quack or whatever move. But I all women in this match did their thing. Like I said, Jada looked like she belonged. This move doesn't happen without Jordynne Grace. And then Julia and Stephanie doing their submissions. There's still tension between these two ladies. They're gonna have a proper feud down the road, have a long build up, have a rematch. Julia's gonna get her rematch. And then Jada takes the pin, so where you still make Jordynne Grace look dominant in the future. So this is a great match. All four of these women contributed and did their own thing to make them stand out. And yeah, I'm excited to see where Stephanie goes next, and maybe it's a rematch for Julia.
Let's hope a proper send off because remember the WWE draft is coming up. So just keep an eye on that. I want to bring this is from a fan footage at Stand and Deliver. If I could get it real quick up and in. Hold on a second. Let me get that going. Cancel that as the computer gets crazy. Now I can see what Samuel Lyons go through in the morning with the computer's acting funny. Give me a minute. All right, this is from fan footage, and this is what I guess we're going to call it.
Temperature water.
And this is the Booker T. Here it is. Oh yeah, here we go. Where's Booker T? Oh yeah. All right, a Booker T spot. We're gonna call it here. And Booker T, yeah, look at that. Shout out to Bookman on that on that spot. And Stephanie, let me get this one picture of showing you La Campeona. Of course, nuestra campeona, of course, la primera de Chile. She's going to want to show her hoisting the NXT title. Where is that? I had it there. If not, I don't have it. We'll keep it moving then. We'll keep it moving because we got a lot to cover. We want to make sure we got all the WrestleMania matches and all that good stuff. So, no se pudo dar for her, but we get to the main event here. Main event time. It's a triple threat. First and foremost, before I even talk about the triple threat, guys, all the bitching and complaining that we had coming into NXT Stand Deliver. So why so many multi-man matches? Why so many multi-person matches? Can I ask you this now watching this card? And I go to Chef Dan. Did it deliver? Or did all the people complaining before they see it had right to complain?
No, it delivered. Absolutely. They all delivered. Every single
Isn't
matchup.
it great?
delivered.
All right. Isn't it better to just be quiet and wait to see like what they tell you? Just be quiet, enjoy the ride, and see, and then react afterwards.
You have every right to react afterwards, but like, yeah, don't kill it before you've seen it.
See, yes. All right, let's go right into the Obafemi defending his NXT title against both Trick Williams and Javon Evans. The ruler wants to get a grip of the men's division, taking on former NXT champion and a young up and coming hungry opponent in Javon Evans. Chris, your thoughts of this match where Obafemi defends his title, but the spots for Trick Williams there and Javon Evans. I thought this was Trick Williams' best wrestling match, putting it together, showing us
best showing.
And Trick Williams too.
Yes, and Trick Williams looked really good too. This was a really good match. I'm not surprised Oba won. He's ultimately the guy that's going to lead this company, this brand for the next few months, at least throughout 2025. I don't see him dropping that title this year. No, this was a good match. Javon Evans, this is his best showing. I mean, his cutter is insane. Him and Will Ospreay. I mean, Javon gets so much air on that cutter, and it looks great. And again, he's not that big. He's a little skinnier on the side, so he can go around and do these moves and land them good. So I liked it. Trick. He reminds me, he was the ultimate underdog in this match, because if you look at Trick and Oba compared to Javon, I mean, they're massive, and that's a really good knee shot by Trick Williams. I've loved that move he's done. Obafemi, he stood out. He always stands out, but he stood out great in this match with that slam on top of Javon Evans, him shaking the ropes. I like this gear, like a little Ultimate Warrior red version gear there. So it was a good match. This was a main event worthy match too. I thought obviously we were talking about the women, but this was a main event worthy match. They delivered. And about the trios matches, I agree. I mean, look, I understand why trios matches might not be your guys' cup of tea. Some people's cup of tea. There are times where some of them could get, a little sloppy or too much could be going on. But with these, we've seen enough NXT to know, at least especially Kev, who's been to NXT live all the time. We know here that I think we know who can work who with who and who can't. And I think everybody in the ring, everybody that participated they know how to work together. They've done it before, great times. So I don't really care about the multi-man matches. I agree. Review it, critique it after you see it. But this was good stuff. Great main event. And again, the right person won here.
Yeah, my point is with this. But when they announce it, pump the brakes. It might not be the greatest on paper. Pump the brakes. Right. Let it be shown and wrestle. And if you don't like it, then that's fine. Our beauty is in the eye of the beholder. But you saw it unfold. Then you could critique it, dislike it, not like it, want it, or don't like it. That's fine. But going into it when it's announced, it's hard to critique it. It's like, look, I didn't like the Hank and Tank being in the tag team champion, winning the gauntlet, but I didn't like them winning. But I'm not going to take away that the match was trash. There was some stuff, or it wasn't a terrible match. There was some stuff for Hank and Tank they have to clean up if they want to continue being tag team champions, being top of the pinnacle of the division. You have to, and I mentioned some spots. Doesn't mean, that was so garbage, it was terrible. No, they delivered. Both teams delivered a hell of a match. The same thing here when you hear a team being announced or a match, regardless, give that open mind and let it play out, and then see it and review it, and then say, you know what, then give your opinion. It's okay. I think that's what it gets misinstructed or misconstrued. What Triple H says, just be a fan and watch it and shut up. And then people take it, I'm a paying customer. I'm JD from New York, and I can make content and compete. No, just watch it. That's what they're trying to tell you. They're not telling you not to critique it. They want, and I'm not saying he does that, by the way, but I'm just, that gets the narrative. They misinterpret that. They want you to first see it. Don't shit on it before it's announced. Shit on it after it's produced, after it's done. If it doesn't live up to wrestling park, I think that's what they want there. Chef, Obafemi wins here. this matchup. What's next for Obafemi? I've got a clip that I want to play. Do you want me to play the clip first? Would you like me to give you your floor to tell me your piece?
No, you can play the clip.
All right, because I want you to react on this. I never seen this before.
Hey, the referee just kicked off Femi. Gotta do what you gotta do. This is
One more time.
the count. Over pulling back. Hey, the referee just kicked off Femi. Gotta do what you gotta do. This is
I never seen the referee. I seen the referee Herb Ebner push down an opponent, not to touch me and go like this, but to kick like that. That's the first time rare. Jeff, the floor is yours.
Yeah, the right man went over. Man, it's gonna sound cliche, but it's just specifically for this person. The right man went over, absolutely. This was a great match. They delivered all spots. Javon Evans, especially in a match like this, he's always going to deliver. Trick always comes up with these clutch moments and big movements, and Obafemi is a natural beast. The one issue I do have, though, is ever since Trick Williams has touched that NXT championship, he has never defended it in a singular matchup. It's a problem to the point where I'm starting to ask, are they trying to protect Trick from something? Are you trying to say he can't wrestle a championship quality match and tell a story in that way? Because for some odd reason, when leading up to the matchups, he gets singles matches and he wrestles great singles matches. But every time it comes to the championship match, like they shoehorned Eddie what's his name?
Opponent. Oh,
when he
Ethan
first
Page was in the.
When he first got Ethan Page, right? They shoehorned in Javon Evans and Sean Spears in ways that it was like, dude, it wasn't even like they won a qualifying match. It was just you won a match and it was impressive the way you won it. So let's make it a triple threat. Oh, wait, he won it and he was impressive too. So let's make it a fatal four-way match. It's like, all right, whatever. Then Trick finally wins it against Ethan Page in a one-on-one matchup, right? But then after that, you have supposed to be a one-on-one match against Oba, which is supposed to be the money matchup. No, then you get what's the dancing guy's name? The dancing Indian.
Oh yeah, Eddie Thorpe.
Eddie Thorpe. He got shoehorned in for no reason, and it was something like to the point of like, yo, Trick, your own hubris got in the way of that. You made it a triple threat match for no reason, requested it for no reason. So every time Trick gets the championship and he has to defend it, for some odd reason, he never defends it in a one-on-one match. And it's just like he always, like for Trick specifically, he always manipulates these multi-man matches. And that's what it got a little tiring for me tonight. Like at the end of this match, I'm like, especially when you have Obafemi and Trick talking to like like in the Peacock exclusive, Obafemi was straight trash talking Trick at the end of the match, letting him know he'll never be this, that, whatever. He's the man around here, all that stuff. Didn't even really pay attention to Javon Evans, which is a story in and of itself. But it's like, dude, can we finally get that one-on-one match? Because it seems like they don't let Trick get that one-on-one fade, or he gets it in his own way for some odd reason.
Good observation on that. Great observation. Chris, anything there that you want to add to or take away or rebuttal?
No, I agree. That was good.
Yeah, I'm seeing that pattern. Thanks for bringing that light on that.
I usually would have a rebuttal, but I don't.
No, that's a great point. You put some good point. Most of Trick Williams' title run has been with multi-man matches where it kind of raised your eyebrow. Why? He's so talented.
No, I agree. I never realized that. I honestly did never realize that too much either.
Good point on that.
I'm going to be honest.
And all along, this card delivered. I don't think there was a dull match or a botch or slow moment like, oh my God, it wrapped this up. It was good. It was a good card. This card was a great card to start WrestleMania weekend. Stand and Deliver again continues to deliver. No pun intended. Of course, what we don't know it's an official news, but it's been circulating the internet rumors where WWE was waiting for this weekend to announce the Worlds Collide with AAA Mexico. Now, don't get it twisted. We all heard that AEW is going to do Grand Slam in Mexico, but could they might gotten word, and they might have put their show first, where WWE wanted to wait for WrestleMania weekend, not to take away from the WrestleMania weekend. So that's why they weren't going to announce this, but it got circulated or leaking. So it doesn't matter at the end of the day who's copying who. Mexico is going to get Lucha Libre, WWE, NXT, Worlds Collide, All Elite Wrestling, and it's just good for Mexico. And it's good for our Latino brothers to get some wrestling exposure with two major companies. And it's not about that. So with that said, that is our NXT review. We will be doing the NXT Tuesday night on the playback. So come on for the aftermath. It'll be from the Fountain Blue in Las Vegas, Nevada. Well, of course, we're going to see the women's tag team champions taking on Gigi Dolan and Tatum Paxley and whatever else comes out of this card. But don't forget, we're going to be reviewing night number 1 of WrestleMania, of course. Before we say I take a break and get into that, don't forget, we want to get the ladies. Ladies, where are you, ladies?
Sports Jedi Network, the Hell of the Ring podcast, is wanting to start and bring on the channel a women's wrestling podcast. We love to keep growing our audience, looking for eager, dedicated, insightful commentary and unique takes on wrestling news. We're impactful voices in the podcast arena. If this sound like you, please reach out to me, and we want to create wrestling content together. Email me at bxjedi76@gmail.com or RDM me at bxjedi76.
Breaking news as we coming back here as we finish the Stand and Deliver. WWE has announced in breaking news, Michael Cole has announced that the WWE entity has purchased Mexico Wrestling AAA. That Michael Cole announced it. WWE has acquired AAA Wrestling. Holy crap, as WrestleMania continues to get more and more greater. We didn't even kick out a match yet, and right off the bat, I'm going to go to Chris. AAA Lucha Libre. We got, oh my goodness, Hijo de Valquinho.
I tweeted out, give me Vikingo versus Penta. I like it. There's CML, AAA doesn't have that strong of a roster right now. They have a lot of guys like Bandito, couple guys from AEW that go in and out. So I'm curious to see, if maybe those relationships with those type of people, and but I like it, man. I think Vikingo's he's really the star of AAA. I think that's the guy that they're really aiming for. So I like it. It's cool. I expected a partnership. I didn't realize that they literally acquired AAA. So that's that part's the shock. I thought it was just going to be some type of collab. No, WWE said give it to me. So.
Oh, man. Chef, I'm going to give you your thoughts, but I'm going to play the clip of the announcement, and then I want to hear your thoughts.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
Seen the acquisition of Mexican Lucha Libre promotion AAA. The acquisition is in partnership with Mexico-based sports and entertainment holding company Philippe. Joining me here tonight, Dorian Roldan Pena, AAA's general manager. Alberto Fascia Cohen, the Philippe chairman.
And that's Hijo de Valquinho, as you saw there on that clip. Chef, we've seen Hijo de Valquinho. We've seen his work elsewhere. What is this? What is the landscape of Lucha Libre now in Mexico?
Definitely more security now that you have a big funder backing you and you can produce the shows in a way better quality. I like that they said they acquired them, but they didn't force it to where, like, okay, you come over and it's just still, Monday Night Raw, Friday Night SmackDown, this, that, whatever. It's no. You guys are still going to, hopefully what this is we acquired you, but we still want you running operations, in the places you're running them. It's just that we're going to change things up and add our touch to it. And if that's the case, then hey, there's more. There's going to be more of an eye on Lucha Libre and the style and the stories and the scars, and that's always a plus.
As of right now, I don't know how big of a library AAA Lucha Libre has or where the library is. Wonder if that's going to be something that they'll add to the YouTube channel, of WWE YouTube channel, or wherever they have their library of matches. Because that's also a big plus when you have Lucha Libre Triple Mania and all the other different card. Also, they announced that refresh my memory if I'm correct or correct me. Is it June 5th? They're gonna have a Worlds Collide with NXT AAA and maybe some TNA, because Hijo de Valquinho is part of the Ultimate X title match there in the upcoming pay-per-view for TNA wrestling. And hey, I'm excited for that, to see that, Lucha Libre and WWE. And my goodness, we haven't even kicked off WrestleMania yet, and we already got excitement and buzz in the wrestling community, in the wrestling world. Here's the famous pose picture taken out outside, and look at that, Triple H and Hijo de Valquinho, one of the really dynamic superstars in AAA wrestling. You've seen them in All Elite Wrestling, you've seen them in TNA Wrestling, you've seen them all across.
It's going to be Saturday, June 7th.
June 7th.
Yep.
June 7th. And I know that's in Kia, right? Kia Center in Los Angeles. Forum.
Yes.
Here Forum in Los Angeles. There you go. So let's get into WrestleMania night number 1, because my goodness, of course, this is Good Morning Wrestling here on the Sports Jedi Network. And we got the Heel of the Ring crew here, of course, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. You got Samuel Lyons on the Heel of the Ring on Good Morning Wrestling. First matchup. And wow, Jey Uso versus Gunther. The match, the psychology, the yeeting, the Gunther back and forth, spear, super kick, Gunther with the off the top rope splash. And ladies and gentlemen, we have a new heavyweight champion in the name of Jey Uso. I'm going to go to Chef Dan. What was your thought on that finish with the winning on the choke and the tap from Gunther?
The finish was an homage to the match, which was an homage to the skill level that Jey Uso presented tonight. This finish was about story, because the match told story. It had a lot of psychology. And in a way, if you're the biggest Jey Uso fan and you were taking the hate that the fans were taking, and there wasn't much you could say tonight, you've just learned and realized that not even the most even the least technically sound wrestler, if they understand psychology, even with their limited move-sets, can tell a story in the ring, keep you entertained in the match, and do what needs to be done. And they don't and the beautiful part was Jey Uso was pulling out new maneuvers, but it wasn't in the sense of, around the time when Cena just started pulling out new maneuvers for the heck of it because they were chanting he can't wrestle. It was new maneuvers that made sense to attack Gunther, and it led to him getting the submission finish, which I never thought I'd see the day where Gunther would tap out. And to Jey Uso, much less a guy that he didn't respect, but it's twice now in WrestleMania that Gunther's fallen to an opponent he did not, have all the way full grasp of what they were capable of. And the way he fell was truly embarrassing. And now he has something to cry to his family about. So salute. You see the shirt, you know what it is. Big E.
Chris, you see that submission? You seen the result? We heard all the narrative on there, but here's some great moments, especially when Gunther was chopping Uso, and Uso just laughed it off, the challenger laughed off the champion's lace chops, playing some mind games, and you saw frustration in Gunther where you don't see it. To maybe he was vulnerable, that he didn't expect that chokehold to get that tap. Your thoughts with that, and right guy go over? Are you yeeting tonight too?
Yeah, I would say so. A lot of people, you could question the finish, right? Would Gunther tap out to Jay? But it's, you know, Gunther has submitted and has used that move on Jey Uso the entire build. And that was sort of Jey Uso's revenge. I'm gonna beat you with your own move. So I like that. I would personally like to see him do another match at Backlash. Um, I thought the match was good. There were some spots that, not some spots, I wouldn't say, I say in the beginning, oh, I wouldn't say slow, but, they're getting the momentum. It's the first match. They're, started out a little, slow, but they got going really, really good. No, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed Jay's splashes. I thought really he was going to pin right there, to be honest. I thought that would have been the finish. But I'm so happy with the finish we got. Do think the right guy went over. This was something that I think we all saw coming for a while now. So even though I kind of wanted Gunther to win, I think we all saw it coming. I think it's going to be good. But I think a good feud, or not feud, but a good first defense would be another rematch against Gunther at Backlash. So I hope they would go to that, and especially with Jay, if he were to beat Gunther two times, that would really make him top dog. So really, so good match, Jey Uso. Finally world champion. Jimmy coming out at the end was really good. Damn, the Fatus are having a good day with championships. So that was good. Good job.
Yeah, like what Chef said, the story that it tell a story, and the story was being told that Gunther got finished with the move that he claimed he was going to put the build to WrestleMania and put him through hell with. And at the end of the day, what he was trying to put Jay through hell with literally backfired and was the result of him losing the title. That was a really good moment there and a spot. And that was the match, the story and the psychology and the story that they told. That's a great moment there for those two. They run it back. I wouldn't be surprised if they do run it back. Backlash, to see where they go with that. We'll be invested. I thought I had the picture of the brothers coming out for that wonderful moment, and I can't see it. I'll skip it for now because I thought I had it, but it's not here. But anyways, we'll move on to the next episode here, where we get the tag team titles. Now, this is a tough spot because you had the everyone yeeting, everyone going in unison, excited. The second matchup was a tough matchup to follow. I do appreciate they didn't log jam either Tiffany or Charlotte, or neither Jade Cargill and Naomi. They gave us the World Tag Team titles, where the New Day defeats the War Raiders. The crowd, you could tell they were a little lackluster, or they were a little fatigued because of the high roller coaster, the yeeting of the crowd. Doesn't take away that the War Raiders put on a hell of a match. They did some move sets there. They looked like it was a hard-hitting match. New Day, show you why they're one of the decorative tag teams in the WWE history. All in all, they get the victory in a heel turn, or in a heel move, a heel fashion, by Xavier Woods holding Ivar's foot under the rope where he wasn't able to kick out. But there were some good spots on the match there. Chris, your thoughts of the Raiders, War Raiders here with the New Day? Give me your assessment.
Nothing too much to add. I thought the match was good. I thought the placement of the match was good because there were a lot of good things coming on later in the show, and you don't want to give it all of them right away, like you said. So I actually thought the match placement of this match was good. The match itself wasn't bad. There were the War Raiders. They do some really good spots for big men. Not that many guys, especially Ivar. He looked great. This was a really good WrestleMania showing for both of them. The New Day, I mean, they're the right guys to win it here. They are one of the greatest tag teams of this generation. Most entertaining and most over. And a lot of people, I wouldn't say a lot of people, I would say myself, I think they need something to get going for this heel turn, because I thought the Big E thing did it. It really didn't to me. And now I think with this tag team titles, they mean something because they're champions. So they'll be, instead of those stupid vignettes we get during the commercial breaks, we'll actually be able to see them because they're champions. So they actually should be on the show. So I think it's going to be good. I think look good. I think some tag teams are going to want to go up against that. Creates room for new babyface tag teams. Like Fraxiam, who just lost their tag team titles at Stand and Delivered. So it makes the door open for babyface tag teams coming in the future to try to build that tag team division up. So I like the result and I like the match.
All right, Shep, then your thoughts on this match with the tag team, the Ibar, Eric, tough spot to follow, but they did their best here to entertain, and of course, New Day being the decorative tag team. Give me your thoughts on their right decision too, or what's your thoughts?
Right decision. Needed that to happen because somewhere along the way on the build to WrestleMania, I started to notice it too. The War Raiders weren't getting the same reception that they were getting when, I'd say 2 weeks after they won the titles, things were starting to dwindle down. So you definitely needed some change. This is the right placement of this match on the card because, like you said, tough to follow the World Heavyweight Championship change and the emotional roller coaster that Jey Uso gave the crowd. But you also kept the crowd somewhat invested because, to Chris's point, Ivar is such a specimen that when he does certain spots, it kind of re-wakes the crowd up and energizes them and keeps them going throughout the card. So all in all, yeah, you both hit it on the nose.
All right, definitely on that. We'll find out now that with the New Day is a heel, we got some new fresh blood probably injected into that men's tag team on Monday Night Raw. Teasing maybe the Hardys, which we've seen them on NXT. And Roadblock and Hardys want to take on the best of the best tag teams. Right now they're trying to convince the Dudley Boys to wrestle. I don't know if the Dudley Boys wants to wrestle because one of them is too busy throwing a rooftop sausage party at the Palms. So I don't know if he's too busy being an entertainer. I don't know if he wants to wrestle or being he's too busy doing other things, criticizing the wrestling business. I don't know if he wants to wrestle against the Hardys there. We'll see.
He doesn't want to get criticized.
They don't want to get criticized, correct. We move on to match here. Two powerful women, Jade Cargill and Naomi one-on-one matchup. This is a match where everyone was complaining before the match even started. It was going to be a terrible build. Now that the match happened, and you've seen the result where Jade Cargill defeat Naomi. Maybe the outcome isn't not what you expected, but the moments of the match, the way she used her power, picking up Naomi off the ropes. Jade Cargill looked sharp. Let me get some footage here if I could get it. But while I do that, Chef Dan, your thoughts on this match with these two ladies, the movesets, the psychology, the in-ring, the whole story with the animosity. Give me your thoughts on Jade beating Naomi.
This was a great match from start to finish as far as storylines that they told, the entrances, the psychology in the matchup and how they went about from start to finish. The movesets were absolutely crisp. There was a certain spot where Naomi dived at Jade in an awkward position, and Jade caught her and flipped it right for a suplex. But the way she caught her was perfectly in line for a suplex in a way that kind of made you go, that was a great spot. And then Naomi repeated and tried to do the same thing again. And you can see that even that psychology there. And as I asked the question, Naomi, why would you come on now? You just got caught doing that and you tried to do the same move, but that's the blind rage. Rage makes you blind and makes you do things like that. So they told a great story in the ring, moveset wise. I didn't see any complications. The one thing I did criticize, just a preference thing, is I thought Naomi should have gone over. I thought it wouldn't have hurt Jade to have taken the pin there and to continue the feud. But then again, you have Naomi being a sore loser. If she continues to go down this route, it's perfectly fine. She is a heel, and she is going to find some justification. So I love it.
Yeah, and here's the spot that you talked about, Chef.
For a blockbuster again. Jade picks it right out of midair. You gotta be kidding me! Into a running power slam. Naomi somehow gets the shoulder up. That was it.
What a move. What a move there, Powerhouse. There, Chris, you saw this match here. You were very worried about this match, concerned. Did it deliver to you and with brutal honesty, or was it a little underwhelming? Did it live up to the expectation, or did it just give you exactly what you thought?
No, I actually didn't mind this. This was good. I did say that this was. I still think this was one of the best build-up matches to the card. These two ladies did a phenomenal job getting us invested into the story. That's ultimately what mattered. I did go on the air and say that this match maybe could have been the Jimmy and Jay from last year, and I take that back 100%. Like Chef alluded to, that spot where Jay just makes it look natural. Naomi even looked great too. I really have nothing to add. Chef kind of took that thing where I was gonna say it's a personal preference, right? Would I like Naomi to go over? Yes, exactly what Chef said. They could have kept going the feud. I'm just curious now to see I'm really curious to see the result of the Bianca Io Sky and Rhea match. I think if Bianca wins, I might have some new feelings, because my thing's this: Jade winning the match, I like it if Bianca wins, because they finally get their feud, they finally get their match. Boom, you could have it there, and you can even insert Naomi. Either way, if Bianca doesn't win, Jade going over is fine. Either of these two ladies going over was fine. It was just a personal preference. But I'm curious even more now with Jade winning, though. Does Bianca Belair win, and how does that play out? Because we know after WrestleMania we are going to get either Jade and Bianca, those three women, or we're going to get some sort of triple something. So I think Bianca having that world title adds a lot to this story for them to keep going. So good match. I apologize. I take back what I said, because the match lived up. It was better than what I expected. And yeah, I think tomorrow's going to be an interesting. Now I want to see the Io Sky match even more. The triple threat match. Now I want to see it even more because of this result. So good job.
Oh, fair enough there. That's why I always say let's wait for the card to give out before we think. We don't know which one is going to be a stinker, but we'll move on here for the United States World Title. Jacob Fatu taking on LA Knight. Yeah. And of course, we have a new United States champion. We heard on commentary Wade Barrett criticizing LA Knight for competing 24 hours on SmackDown on that hard-hitting match against Solo Sikoa, and forgot that Fatu was in the same tag match. I guess he must have forgot about that as well. But LA Knight scales the ropes and got caught his opponent with an overhead German from the top in an incredible spot. And then Knight catching a moonsault for Fatu and mid-flight with a blood force trauma that he kicked out. And of course, you heard the crowd. This is what I like to hear, Chef. The crowd had dueling chants with both men going over with the audience. So the LA Knight love is not over, Chef. But we knew that Jacob Fatu was a tough task at hand for him to overcome. You call this match. You saw this match, watching this match unfold. You're a big LA Knight guy, but we know what is the power of a Jacob Fatu. Your thoughts here. Oh, got right guy go over. What does happen to LA Knight in all this totality?
Yeah, right guy went over. The way they built Jacob preceding this match, and even like his run-ins with Braun Strowman, right guy went over. It was just too tall of a task for LA Knight that night. And if you're a fan of LA Knight, you're kind of gonna have to ask, like, all right, what does he retool to get this title? Because I gotta keep it real. The way they built Jacob Fatu, you're not winning back this title in a conventional match. His
Mm.
ability is too much, and he's too much of a freak of nature. Like, you're not winning this in a straight up match. You can try and ram your head through that, wall, but it's not gonna happen. So yeah, and kudos to Jacob, because I said it on playback during the watch along. I'll say it again here for the morning after. Like, dude, for the people that think, because I know it's gonna happen, people think that, oh, Jacob is just a glorified spot fest. He wrestles with psychology. Yeah.
Okay. I will Jacob Fatu. Like you said, how they take the title off of him, we'll see. And I think, I understand what you're telling me, but I'm gonna let Chris go in here. Chris, Jacob Fatu, right guy, go over. LA Knight still not dead. That love for LA Knight, where the crowd, still over. He's not gonna go away. He's not gonna get buried, where everyone thinks. But you still got to worry with creative. Your thoughts on Jacob Fatu going forward and the match?
So watching this match was actually different for me. I'll tell you why. From Jacob's entrance, I've been watching this guy heavy since 2023, and I have tweets of saying this guy, when he gets to WWE, he's gonna be in that main event category. And watching him come out, having that big presentation, he looked emotional. He just didn't want to show it because of who he is, but this guy has been through hell and back with, just his personal life. So first off, as a big, long-time fan of Jacob, way before he's been in WWE, I'm so happy for the guy. LA Knight, he's one of those guys to where, I hate to say this because I think the is super over. I don't see, in the spot he's in right now, I don't see him going higher than that. And what I mean is, he's always going to be that solid. Every company needs a solid. I don't like using the term mid-carder, but every company needs that solid mid-carder. And I think LA Knight's going to be that solid mid-carder. I could be completely wrong. I don't know if he's going to be in that, Jey Uso world title scene. He sure as hell isn't going to be in the Universal title scene. And I think he's going to be that. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. I want to get that clear. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But my point is, I don't want people to think that this is going to, he buried it. No. First off, he lost Jacob Fatu. He didn't lose to a scrub. Second, he's going to be in that spot again. I mean, I'm sure he'll get his opportunity at more, and he has against Roman. So again, I could be completely wrong, but he's really solid, and I think in the position he is in is good, especially if he keeps going after United States championships, and who knows, crosses the line with the draft and gets the IC like who knows. But I like LA Knight's role, and I know a lot of people might disagree, but I think he'll be just fine.
Right. Listen, I think LA Knight once. I think they're going to try one time. If he continues to stay over one time, I think he wins the opportunity to win the world title. I think the world, not the undisputed, but the world title. I could see where LA Knight, they might give him a shot. Wouldn't be surprised to go as far as making a prediction that he might win the Royal Rumble next year. Wouldn't be surprised if LA Knight wins the Royal Rumble in Saudi, where people are going to go, yeah, they're going to go crazy. Never, maybe. Doesn't, but
yeah.
I understand what you mean. He might get that one opportunity, and then they say maybe he's not world champion material. We're going to keep him at the higher mid card where people are invested and want to see him. They want to cheer him. There's nothing wrong. But look, people love Jake the Snake Roberts. Jake the Snake Roberts wasn't world heavyweight material. He was always a mid card, a guy that want to see someone get DDT'd and get beat up, or Ravishing Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect. Throw some of these names that they were in wrestling history as that mid card that you wanted to see.
Exactly. Nothing wrong with that at all.
You take a chance like a Macho Man. I'm not saying Macho Man. Macho Man's a world heavyweight champion, but Macho Man was always reluctant in that hit card. They took a chance to make him a world heavyweight champion, and look, he elevated himself. You never know. You never know. You never
I
know
agree.
if they LA Knight might just take something to another level there. So we never know what LA Knight. I don't think he's completely buried or done
No, not at
um
all.
or goodbye Charlie at all. Here's next match we go into. Now, a Grande Americano was supposed to take on Rey Mysterio, but Rey Mysterio was not medically cleared. Comes in with the hot tag with Rey Phoenix. Rey Phoenix has a WrestleMania match, which no one expected on your bingo card so soon. El Grande Americano got into it in ringside with none other than Hijo de Banquino planting that seed. He got kicked in the head. Chef, we're planting the seed. We saw Chad Gable, or El Grande Americano, excuse me, had mariachis coming in. I love that. Had the mariachis. He got kicked in the head. He some great matches
From the
back
Gulf of America.
he's in Golf in America. Plus, he put the medal in the mask. All in all, he cheated to win without the referee seeing. Your thoughts, Chef, part of that psychology of the match and the match with El Grande Americano and Rey Phoenix. I don't think that hurts Rey Phoenix getting his first loss.
It doesn't. It's continuing the story, and also, man, it sort of also feels like this. They knew they were going to acquire Triple A when you see the way they're continuing with this Grande Americano gimmick, because this thing could run across, and you get a whole bunch of luchadors feel disrespected, and so you emphasize, like, this is literally how you tell the story of luchadors. You have someone disrespecting it, so it's like, no, you got to understand why it's the history is sacred. You got to diss that, whatever, and so forth and so on. And they're going to talk about Mil Mascaras and a whole bunch of, like, it gives you the chance for that. But yeah, I thought the gimmick was going to end tonight, but with the acquisition of Triple A, I should have known better. Grande Americano won, and it was a great, solid matchup. Very technically sound. Rey Phoenix continued to show how great he is in the ring, but Grande Americano just he figured out a way. He
did figure out a way, man. He figured out his way. Rey Phoenix doing a great move set out there. At the end, in gorilla position, pretty much almost hugged Triple H. Very gratitude. You could see those two, him and Penta, are very grateful and ecstatic being in the WWE. Like they savor the opportunity no matter what. Those guys are so thankful being there. Chris, viendo el Grande Americano, the mariachis, all the stuff in the match there. Hijo Banquino, Phoenix they put on a hell of a match when the bell rang. But their match, this still continues because you still, Chad, aka Grande, is still going to be up against the whole Mexico or the luchadors now with Triple A coming in.
Yeah. So with Triple A coming in, like Chef said, I should have known that this shit wasn't going to end, even though I really wanted it to. I got really nothing much to add other than, I mean, I guess they could keep going with the story that, like Chef said, right, all these damn luchadors feel disrespected, and then they all got to try to take him down, and then only one guy can. But I'm going to be honest, and I love Rey Phoenix. This has nothing to do with Rey Phoenix. I think Dragon Lee should have been the guy to get that spot, because El Grande Americano has tortured Dragon Lee on Monday Night Raw.
Fair.
Since the beginning. And this felt like I mean, you got to do what you got to do at the last minute, right? I don't think they planned Ray getting hurt. Obviously, injuries happen, but I think it was just a random pick there. They could have had Dragon Lee or one of the LW. I know it's still, it's WrestleMania. Put your damn best matches. Penta or Ray, and it's a great match. Yeah. But Dragon Lee, I think he would have been. I think he would have done just fine. So story purposes, I would have picked Dragon Lee. But other than that, I got nothing really else.
No, fair. You have a right to put that out there, because Dragon Lee's been with the company longer. He should have got that WrestleMania opportunity if Ray got injured. You're correct on that. That was we all know what kind of move that was, and I agree for you to be questioning that. I'm not going to say, well, there is no rebuttal to that. That's a good one. That's a very good, fair assessment there. What's going to be fair is this match. WWE Women's Champion Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair, where this match, everyone thought it was going to be a colossal shit show. Stratton literally exited a Barbie box at her special WrestleMania entrance. She was oh my gosh, she was so self-aware, if nothing else. Barrett with some great insights, revealing that Stratton in inexperience would mean to take an extra second or two to figure things out and maybe slowing things down. But Flair giving it an opportunity in her opening. The knees to the mix section off of a pretty moonsault was a great spot. Looked like it really hurt. It actually looked like Tiffany had a chipped tooth or a broken tooth. All of a sudden, Tiffany kicking out of a natural selection, keeping hope alive, and the match at getting the prettiest moonsault where, wasn't Charlotte Flair winning. It was Tiffany Stratton going over, defending her title, Chris. And first and foremost, we know the build was not that great. But the match, the in-ring psychology, your thoughts on this match, Chris, and I want to go into to Chef. Give me your thoughts. You're muted, buddy.
I hate when I do that. No, this was a better match than I thought. I thought the presentation of the match, the presentation of this match looked the best to me in terms of entrances, in terms of like it was good. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I liked it. It was really brutal. Obviously, you see the scars, you see the tooth, you see Charlotte's or Tiffany's forehead, and you see a couple things on Charlotte. I was surprised with the end result because I think a lot of people expected Charlotte to come in there, win whatever. But I like this because Charlotte's still a 15-time champion, whatever she is, and I think they're gonna chase. I think they're gonna treat John Cena's kind of on the verge of that, and I think they're gonna treat Charlotte kind of different from that in the future. So maybe they hold off on that. I don't know. That's just a little side assumption, but I thought the match was better than I expected. I thought the match was gonna be a shit show. I actually thought this match was gonna be the worst match of the entire WrestleMania. But no, they did really well. I liked it. They both looked great in size. Charlotte looked great selling the knee. She had that nice glittered knee brace. And it looked good. She did a good job selling it. I actually thought her knee was fucked up again, but no, she did a good job. And then the roll up, getting her into a roll up pin. I was just again surprised by the ending, but I'm guilty of judging matches before they start, so I'm not completely innocent on it. But this did deliver. This delivered better than I expected, and like Kev said, the build wasn't as great. So we'll see. We'll see where this goes.
The build had its hairy situation, not a hairy package, but we'll talk about that some other time. The build was a little bit dicey. My thing was with Tiffany, with her hard-hitting match with Charlotte. By the way, honorable mentions on the entrances. The Rolls Royce coming out for Charlotte Flair, the Maserati for LA Knight, the Samoan Werewolf mask, and the Chad Gable throwback to it with the video package of the Grande Americano. I didn't want to leave that out there. But, Chef, this match, these women, they bought it. This was an A+ match, man. What's your thought? Are you agree, disagree? Give me your assessment of this match, man.
For as technically sound as this matchup was, I harshly disagree with what you guys said. Reason being is because of the build of this matchup. When you look at it, there were chaotic moments, like, honest to gosh, the only chaotic moment when you realistically look at it, like from a standing back point, was the in-ring promo face to face, because when they met up, right, they were constantly fighting each other. Chaos couldn't keep their hands off of each other, couldn't stay away from each other, right? Pure hatred. Then you had the video package, the camera by camera promo battle, which Charlotte won that completely. Then you have them brawling some more. Then you have the can't touch in-ring thing where Tiffany gets very personal for no reason at all. It was never like Charlotte got personal with her. She threw personal shots, which that was where the Harry situation happens, right? Then you get a brawl. You get to WrestleMania, and you give me a technically sound match. You guys aren't brawling again? You guys
Chef,
aren't...
I was going to say she lost a tooth, brother.
That's during the course of the match. Like, that's a wrestling is wrestling type thing. Like,
look at the forehead.
Like, Kev, that's like telling me it's a hard-hitting match because someone bled a little. You could have bled on, it's like, how did you bleed exactly? Was it because of you told the storyline and then somewhere you got hit with something really hard? And then after that, the blade scene, which no one sees, and then boom, you get the pool of blood. Is it that, or is it an accidental spot where, oops, something happened and, oh, there's blood. So now we're just saying it's a hard-hitting match. For me personally, and this is the way I saw the match, I lost interest 2/3 of the way into the match because it was like what the build was versus what I got for the match was not consistent.
I can see that.
It didn't feel right. Not only that, based on the interactions that you guys had and the way that you guys have let me know the way you guys feel about each other, the one thing I'm not coming in to see is a technical matchup between you two. I could see somewhere along the way you guys have a brawl and then it devolves into showmanship where y'all two are trying to one-up each other with great moves, and I would accept that one. But this technically sound match was kind of boring to me, and it didn't make sense.
Now here's what I'm gonna do. Here's a rebuttal on this. If I tell Chris, go get your girlfriend. I'm just saying hypothetically. Go get your girlfriend, and I ask you, come here and ask her, what do you see in this match? When you see this picture of Tiffany Stratton holding that title match, she looked like she's been through hell, beating her face got mangled up, her hair looks like crap. She got a knot on her forehead. The story here says that she went through hell on a battle, but I get it. We're analyzing because of the build of you're bringing in the build of the lead up, the promos. I get it, and the match itself within, but the picture could be deceiving because she looked like she went through hell fighting Charlotte.
No, but then that's disingenuous because the result isn't based on what happened. Like, you're giving me a still shot of something versus what I'm telling you is like, dude, like, and you said it. It was a very technically sound match. They went
with the knee, yeah.
And but it was never something where like it was just straight like shots and brawl. Like, dude, they brawled each other. We saw it. Like, I'm not making it up. They showed us the potential for them to have all-out brawls, and it looked exciting. It got the crowd hot. So you mean to tell me you couldn't do any of that? We went into collar and tie elbows.
But here, okay, I understand. Not through some quarter of the match, but throughout the match, they were trying to take each other's knees out. You don't think that was in brawl enough or physical?
No, that like I consider that working a body part to get to the end result, but it was nothing heinous involved. Like it wasn't a heinous activity where it's like, oh, I'm taking advantage of something. If anything, I felt like what Charlotte messed up on something and then Tiffany took advantage of it. There was that, but it was never I'm purposely trying to take you out. Which even then, if you're going for the knee, like the way they brawled each other and the way Tiffany spoke of Charlotte, you're trying to take her out the game for good if you're going for that knee. It's not working you to tap.
I thought she worked the knee where she was attacking Charlotte's knee on the brace. Maybe we saw something different, but we agree to disagree on that one. I thought I don't know how much more physical they're not. That's not their style of fight. Maybe and I want to see who was the producer. I'll try to check the producer of that match. If anything like that, maybe an Abyss should have been the producer of this match with Tiffany and Charlotte.
I'll say one last thing, right? And the reason why I'm feeling this way is because it's not only just the brawl where I'm feeling it fell short. And I'm not saying this is I'm not saying it's Tiffany's fault. In the way I'm gonna phrase it now, it seems more so it could have been Charlotte's fault. The way Tiffany and Becky fought in their last matchup, that wasn't a technically sound match. That was brawls on brawls. That lets me know Tiffany can wrestle that style of match where it's not the cleanest and it's not the most technical, but I can give you a fight. Becky has the capability to wrestle that style of match and took Tiffany there, and Tiffany obliged. It was that matchup, I forget, that was a No Mercy card 2 or 3 years ago. And that was what we considered possibly the best matchup on that card. So I've seen Tiffany have the capability to give me a brawl style matchup where it's not clean, but God damn it, you made me feel emotion and feel like you hate this woman all the way through. Tonight could have been the same.
Maybe she wanted to show that she could wrestle that level of Charlotte. If she would have went in there, muck it up, or done that. Oh, see, that wasn't Tiffany fought crappy against Charlotte, and because maybe that's what it is. Maybe that style of matches between them. She had to wrestle. She had to show the office or show that she could hang with a Charlotte, beating her at her own game. Technically sound. I don't know. I don't think this was a technically. I thought this was a hard match because I remember telling you saying. I remember saying on the watch along, Tiffany's fought a hardcore style. She had matches with Wendy Chu, with some hardcore matches. Tiffany could get down and dirty. I remember saying that on the watch along, which was weird.
And it lends to my point even more, which is why I'm saying like maybe it's that Tiffany wanted that. Or maybe it's that Charlotte can't wrestle that hardcore style of match.
Maybe both. You're right.
Maybe it's a little bit of both. Because once again, Tiffany can display that. And based on the build and the way they built up this matchup, I didn't warrant. And once again, and during the watch along, the reason why I keep saying technically sound is because you pointed it out. A lot of things were clean. You kept it. That's clean. That's clean. That's clean. That's clean. It's almost to a point where it's like, it's too clean.
I was trying to say pulling on clean that I'm trying to give Tiffany credit that she can hang with a Charlotte before Charlotte. It goes, you see, Tiffany's not even that wrestler. Maybe I should have not said too much about that match.
Here's the crazy part. Like going into that matchup, I didn't have any doubt that Tiffany could hang in there with Charlotte.
But I know you didn't, but the IWC and the rest of the world had that doubt.
Yeah, maybe there was a world doubt about that, but I hope everyone coming out, like if some people see it in my way of listening to it, like I hope you, like the people that saw it, they can vocalize and let the world know.
Yes.
It's never a worry that Tiffany could hang in there in the ring with Charlotte. If this whole build was a worry of anything, it was the promo battles. And Charlotte showcased that in their first interaction with each other on that side-by-side camera promo battle.
Okay. Chris, let me get you in here. Any thoughts on that? What did you see a technical battle or did you see hard hitting? What's your thoughts before we get to the main event?
I saw a little bit of both.
Okay.
I mean, Charlotte's style is really technical. It's hard, and Tiffany's style it's a little technical, it's a little gymny. So I could see where Chef, alluding to, but I also thought Tiffany going after the injured knee of Charlotte while she's selling the injured knee in the match. I gotta go back and rewatch the spot on maybe where Tiffany might have lost her tooth, but Charlotte, she's known for the good super kick, so maybe she landed. Again, accidents happen, and I agree with Chef. But It depends. I could agree with both sides, but I thought it was hard hitting, and I thought it was technical, and I just think it's their styles, and when you combine their styles with a little bit of animosity, I think you get a little bit of mixture of both. But I don't think you guys are both wrong, honestly.
No, it's not about wrong. We're just trying to say which point of view we saw. I thought I saw this.
Yeah,
kind of point of view,
I no, that's what I'm saying. What I mean by that is, I mean, like, you guys, like, I could see both your guys' point of views. Is what
that we
I'm
are
saying.
both argument. There's an argument to be
Right.
made on both ends on that.
That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
All right, let's get to the main event there. Of course, they told us the gate. Of course, 61,147. Shawn Michaels came out, let us know the gate. Of course, 60 plus. So you're looking like maybe over 120, 110,000 people that combined nights. Good for the WWE. Triple threat match. Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, CM Punk. Let me get some images before we get to the whole logistic, because we got a lot to talk about that one. One of the big ones, seeing Roman Reigns walk out alone, coming out alone by himself. It's like, whoa. Let me get the entrances real quick. If I got the video, the pictures up here. I got Heyman coming out with Punk, a little throwback for when they were younger, in younger days. Look at that younger Paul Heyman. Indeed. And then Rollins coming out first, burning it down. He came out burning it down with a blowtorch. And then, of course, looking like the Messiah has returned. Easter Sunday anyway, too. Happy Easter Sunday. Happy Resurrection Sunday to all that celebrate that. Of course, he is risen. And salute to everyone at Good Morning Wrestling here on the Sports Jedi Network. Appreciate you guys joining us, and let's get right to it, man. A match, years in building, years in making, where we are like, holy crap, the false finishes, the spots, and then again, an excellent video package, first and foremost, for Living Color, singing Kurt personality, live, great job there. Beautiful job, beautiful entrance for CM Punk, the best in the world. Reigns launching himself towards the crowd, wiping out Punk and Rollins nearly in the first row. That was a good spot in the match. Rollins counting the spear on Roman Reigns with that pedigree into a hell of a spot, keeping the tribal chief down and of course, the chair shots from Paul Heyman getting involved. Finally, Heyman first comes in. Looks like he's gonna help CM Punk, gives the chair, then boom, hits a nut shot, and then Roman Reigns, as we're gonna see. Let me see this. Let me get the video. I got the little bit of video real quick, and the nut shots heard around the world.
Oh my God! Paul Heyman, you son of a bitch!
Holy crap, Chris! What an ending. Rollins, Heyman, thoughts?
Well, when I said weeks ago on Weekly Wrestling that I wish Seth Rollins aligned himself with The Rock, I think we're one step closer to that. I like it. I love it. I wanted this to happen. I said on Weekly Wrestling, Seth Rollins made the most sense to win, in my prediction. He makes the most sense to win because down the road, look, Seth is, when you look at Seth and you look back at the contract signing to where he's laughing and he's kind of just enjoying it, it's like he hates Punk and Roman so much that he just stole the one person that they both care about the most. That is the greatest picture in so far this year. I mean, it's a shocker. Now we're gonna get most likely a heel Rollins, which, in my opinion, even as a Tyler Black fan, I think he has always done his best work as a heel. And I think a lot of people could agree too. A lot of people would say he's a corny babyface and does his best work as a heel. But this was a swerve, and I say that because although I was hoping this sort of thing would happen,
it's one of those things, right? You think, oh, could this happen? But when it actually happens, it's like you start thinking this and this, and that's why I said him making the most sense, because there's so much things you could do. Now Punk's gonna want his revenge and Roman's gonna want his revenge. So these three are still gonna have animosity. Their story's still gonna continue, and I think that's the best part, because these are your three biggest stars working together, and you don't want this just to kind of be a one and done. It's gonna keep going, especially now. Paul Heyman is the ultimate manager. He swerved me, because I'm sitting there like, okay, yes, he's turning on Roman, and no, he just turned on everybody, and the ultimate goal was Seth. I did not see that. I did not see that. So great storytelling by Paul Heyman, and I also think this match also, he was also the big part in this match. I think everyone could agree to that, where we need to keep an eye on him just as much as we got to keep an eye on the three participants. But yeah, this was great. This was a great match. A lot of near falls. There were times where all three of these men could have won it. I thought Seth should have won it, where he did when Roman Reigns did the spear and he reversed it into a pedigree, and Seth Rollins did the current stop and he rolled out Punk. I'm standing up. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. And then no, so I was full of emotions during this match, and that's what wrestling was about. So great night one main event.
Yeah, I'm with you on that spot that you said. I thought it was going to be the inner. I think I told that to Chef Dan on the watch along. You know what? That should be the finish spot. That move set where Heyman pulls a leg of Punk and he prevents it. Chef, this main event, sometimes to say is predictable. You know what I say? We know that the sun always comes up in the morning and sets at night. It sets from the east and west is predictable, but what's not predictable, the course of the day. Did this deliver to you? Even though it kind of, you could see Heyman probably with Punk, with turning on Punk and Roman, but the way they did it, your thoughts on the whole entire shebang of the match?
Heyman's got about 30 years of wrestling experience. 30 or 40? 30 years. Seth Rollins has 10. We'll say 15. No. He has about 20 years of experience.
Seth Rollins isn't homemade.
Yeah, he started from young too. So let's give him 20 years. Roman Reigns has about 10 years of wrestling experience. So that's 60 years. And Punk with his 30 now.
Are we doing Steiner math?
Yeah, I'm doing Steiner math right now. It's about we're getting to about 100 years of wrestling experience between the four of these guys who are consummate pros. And this is what happens when you leave that to their own discretion, along with responsible storytelling. There's not enough words to sing praise for the matchup and how it went down. I don't have the adjectives, the good adjectives. I don't have any to describe the story and how it was played out. And the ultimate compliment that I can pay to these four gentlemen is that even during this build, during the match, and now, the only thing they make me want to do is be a viewer. I can't critique it. This is mastery and expertism at levels that you can't critique. You can only watch. Not even the best who are, respectfully, fuck Jim Cornette's opinion. Fuck Dave Meltzer's opinion. Fuck Bully Ray's opinion. Mark Henry's opinion, or LaGreca's opinion. Like, none of their opinions matter in the way this storyline is being displayed and the matches that they're giving us. If you want to have your preference here and there, cool, but for the most part, they're getting the job done and knocking it out the park every single time. The only thing I want to do is be a viewer and watch and see what happens next. And that's the ultimate compliment that I can pay to all four of these gentlemen and what they did tonight and how they got to where we got to and what they did for the main event. And I'm what's next?
Wow. Very good job. Very good job. Very well said. Yeah, I want to see what's next with Rollins and Heyman. Does we see something tune in for tonight for night number 2? Does that bleed into night number 2? Like you were saying, Chris, is it The Rock involved? Are they selling their soul? Is Paul Heyman? We know him as a wise man, an advocate, a best friend. Is he a soul collector? Is that his new title? Is it Paul Heyman, the soul collector? We don't know.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that out there. I know Chris came up with that. I want to make sure he gets his flowers and the acknowledgement on that as well as Heyman, the soul collector. What's next? We want to know what's going on with that. Where does Roman go now? He looked like, oh damn, I lost. I'm with nothing. The interacting with Jey Uso and him. Jey Uso with the World Heavyweight title and Roman. Is there some jealousy? Is there some stories coming out of that? We don't know. Is Jacob Fatu going to throw in the face that he's got gold? And what's the implication of the Ulafala? Does The Rock say you're not leading this family anymore? Maybe Jey Uso is the leader of the Ulafala because he's wearing gold. So many questions. Storyline. Remember, wrestling doesn't end tonight. There's no off season tonight or tomorrow night. It continues. Monday Night Raw. It continues. There's always going to be a build for the next event, the next so forth. This was great. Where does CM Punk go? Where is his turn now? He had his main event. Did he really finish his story? Is he done? What is he left for Punk to do? Does he want to get a title now? He main event. All right, now I got to get gold. I got to get back to the top of the mountain. At John Cena, I got a receipt for you. Or is he gonna? There's so many implications coming out of tonight. All in all, this WrestleMania, the build might have not been great, or you might have been persuaded by a couple talking heads that it wasn't a good build, and you all became parrots. Parrots of like, oh, you know what? I'm not gonna do my own work and have. How they say lazy booking, lazy takes? Well, that was lazy research as a wrestling fan. If you let a couple people's takes or their feelings influence you for not really seeing what this card really was, this match, these performers did tonight was a really good WrestleMania night 1. Guys, you want to give your final thoughts because we have to come on later on. This is Good Morning Wrestling with. Of course, Sports Jedi Network. I'm the Sports Jedi Network, the Heal the Ring podcast with the Heal the Ring crew, Chef Dan, Chris, as well. And I'm going to go with you, Chris, first so we could wrap up.
Yeah, no. Nothing much to add. It was a good WrestleMania night 1. It definitely, hopefully, changed a lot of people's minds about this year's Mania. And I'm excited to watch it with you guys tomorrow or tonight.
Yes, indeed. Definitely can't wait for that. Chef, your thoughts here for closing on Good Morning Wrestling?
Very responsible in the card placement and loved all the matches, but very kudos to the card placement. You start off hot, you finished hot. That was what the people will remember. Love it.
And I think the people went home happy for night 1.
Yeah.
Now night 2, we'll find out in a couple hours to see who and how it finished.
Kev, you have to understand, leaving WrestleMania 1, they're not going home. They know the flyers are out there. They know.
And yes, with that said, we want to thank everyone. Thank you for over 7,000 watching us on X. That was big. Everyone on playback, we appreciate everyone. We'll see you. Don't forget, watch us on playback TV, Heal the Ring podcast, or on X at BS Jedi 76, or at PG Chris SJN, or at the Dying Breed 18. And of course, we'll say a quick yeet. We'll see you tonight a little later. Peace out. Please share, subscribe. Good night or good afternoon.